Hey guys, welcome back to our Make Me a Filmer series with Lucy Hub. I'm Andrew Silva. Here's Aly Gibson.
Hi.
We're back for episode 2. On our first episode, we talked about some basic camera settings, frame rate, exposure, and just how to optimally use our iPhone to set it up for success. Today on episode 2,
We're gonna talk about framing, rule of thirds, and miking. So that grid that we had you turn on your settings, we're really gonna utilize it in this episode. So I'll just go over some tips and tricks, and then we'll have a lovely model here that you can try out your framing tips.
our model today is Aly's
roommate
roommate slash husband, Johnny Gibson. Okay, so you said framing. What is framing? I mean, I'm assuming framing is how something is, well, how it looks within the camera view itself, right?
Yeah, when framing, there's a couple of little things that I like to think about. I call it huge half and head. And that kind of really helps me. I don't know if anyone else uses this, but this is how I learned it. So think of huge as the whole picture. So you're getting from head to toe, maybe even a little bit of the floor. Half is waist up. And then head is from the bust up, or even like a close-up of your face. So those are really the 3 ways you can frame something. We don't want to cut off at the knees just because it looks weird, so at the joints. But yeah, so that's kind of framing. You want to make sure that you're not cutting off their head. You have enough room around them.
So huge, half, and head.
Yeah.
Huge, half, and head. Okay. And then that, I guess that's 3. Is that part of the rule of thirds, I guess, or is that not? Is that something completely different?
It kind of goes hand in hand. So with the rule of thirds, you're really going to utilize that grid. So that grid that looks like a tic-tac-toe board. The rule says that you're going to put your most important, like your subject or whatever it is you're trying to highlight, within where those lines cross.
So when you said we're trying to put them within the lines cross, the grid itself looks like it's like 9 squares.
Yeah.
Where do you mean within where the lines cross? Where exactly they cross within, like where?
Yeah, so if you look at the grid, and we can go over this, you'll see it. I think it'll be great to be hands-on with it. But it crosses 2 on the top and then 2 on the bottom. So on the bottom or on the top, you want to have the face like somewhere within where those crosses are. And it just makes for like an interesting balanced shot. So it's not just so stiff, like you have a little bit of interest, to the side.
Awesome. And then what was the last thing you wanted to discuss today as well?
Yeah, miking. So I think if we're filming an interview, all of these things would go hand in hand. So the mics that we use are fairly easy, but sometimes they can get, if the levels aren't right, we'll just show you how to adjust it and make it super smooth and clear.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to get hands-on with this. I think we're gonna be moving forward with our model, the beautiful Johnny Gibson.
Okay. The first thing we're gonna do when filming an interview is you have your grid lines on. The way he's sitting right now, when we're remember how we went over cinematic mode? To get that blur in the background, I always wanna pull the subject off of the wall so that there's more depth and space. So right now, he's pretty close to the wall, so I'm gonna try to pull him forward as much as possible when setting up the shot.
Okay, so I'm gonna click on cinematic mode.
Yeah.
And now I'm gonna zoom in on him. I'm just gonna hit 2, it looks like, and let's see if we wanna go closer than that.
Yeah, so this is where the huge half and head would come in. So you would wanna cut him like right at that waist. So right where that line is.
This bottom line here?
Yeah.
I wanna go lower, you're saying?
No.
Oh, I wanna go higher?
You wanna zoom in more.
Oh, I wanna zoom in more.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that way you're not getting knees or maybe like ankles.
So we don't want any knees. Yeah. And right now I just see his thighs, the top of his hands, and
you might see his, his legs just because there's not a lot more room to zoom in without cutting off his arms. But if you go landscape.
Okay, let's go landscape, which is now
you can
this
zoom
way.
in way more. See, it's already perfect.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Now that you have the framing, right, you can see that he's super centered. So this is where the rule of thirds comes in. So where those lines cross, you're going to move him slightly off center. So think about like his eye hitting one of those like crossing points.
So I want to come like this.
Yes, and then raise it up just a little bit. There you go. And that adds a little bit more interest to the shot.
Oh.
And you can do that on the other side. If you're shooting a little bit more wider, you can shoot framing in that those 2 bottom boxes down there.
Like this?
A little bit too. Yeah, that's more though if you're doing like a really wide shot, because that wouldn't look.
Yeah, that looks kind of, for like, so like if Johnny's an expert in musical engineering. And so like, for example, if I was asking him some questions on musical engineering right now, this would be the shot that I'd want to try to achieve, is what you're saying? Or like if I'm trying to do an interview or a testimonial for any type of thing, this would be the shot that we want.
Yes, exactly.
Very interesting, okay. So, to recap, let's look at this again, guys. So, I first came in, I guess, like this. This was our first shot So I'm trying to like process everything. Obviously we want to shoot in the cinematic mode. That's our optimal choice. What we want to do, it sounds like, is we want to cut off Johnny's knees. So we're cutting off his knees, actually exactly where he put his hands, just there. And now he's perfectly in frame. Now the next thing that we can do is we can actually try to align him with these grid lines here, which helps to achieve, I guess, the rule of thirds, and that works both ways, portrait and landscape.
Well, I would say more so landscape, just because you do have that room left to right. Portrait, it's very
portrait,
limited.
Yeah, portrait, it doesn't seem as, I guess, okay, the rule is it doesn't.
See, at that point, you're cutting off his shoulders, and you don't want that.
Okay.
That's where that framing comes in. You want to leave room above them and beside them.
I see.
Thank you so much for that.
Okay. So it sounds like for portrait, a best practice might be to just center them. And then for landscape, you can be a little bit more fun with the framing of them using the rule of thirds.
Exactly. For the example that I provided earlier, when there's two people, I was right where Johnny was and you were on the other side.
Yes.
So, there's not really anything centered, but there's a balance and...
Yes, and we would probably zoom out a little more.
Exactly.
So when it comes to this though, the framing, I'm only getting the top of his head and the top of his torso. That doesn't matter as much. I guess I can zoom out a little bit more here. So is that?
Yeah.
To get?
Yeah, so if you want to try the huge half and head that I was talking about, so let's start with the huge. That's showing a little bit of the feet. This is going to show more of the background, the environment that they're in. You might want to step back a little bit if you can't zoom out.
Okay.
More. You just want to make sure you're not cutting anything off. So feet are in the frame, you can see the environment. And then if you want to zoom in for the half, that's waist up.
Okay.
So go
Trying
ahead.
to do this. Okay, so that's half.
Yes.
Okay.
And then head would be a close-up, so think like chest up. You can get super close.
Okay, so I'm gonna come closer.
This is going to be a very intimate shot. This is usually like a second angle maybe, where you're getting really emotional sometimes.
Okay, so this is...
Yeah, and you could even go in closer too if you wanted to get... Maybe not.
No, that's too close, because this is, you said closer. I don't know how close. Okay.
It's really up to you, but yeah, that's a headshot.
Yeah, that is pretty close. Okay. Yeah. Personally, I've always tried to just align things in the middle. Like if, most of the times when I'm filming things, it's like concerts and bands and stuff, right? Yeah. So I'm like, if Johnny was a band playing right now, I'd be filming this just like this.
Yeah.
For an action shot like that, would you recommend the rule of thirds as well in that situation as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously if you're filming a full band and you want the entire, band, you would just shoot wide.
Yeah.
But if you're getting close up, so maybe he's the guitarist.
And you're getting
Yeah, you can do the rule of thirds, put them on one of those boxes, one of those crosses, and then you have room for whatever's on the left side. So maybe you're getting a little bit of the drummer or a little bit of the singer, but then you're primarily focused on them.
I see.
It gives you room to play and add interest.
Very cool. So this can help us as filmers add, like as you said, add interest and add a variety of shots that we can use to keep, so it's not always just band in the middle, and it's small things like that that can help make your videos seem better.
Yes.
It's the nuances like that, stuff that I've never really thought of, I guess, until now.
These are the DJI mics. They're pretty simple. It just plugs into your phone. Do you want to go ahead and plug this into your phone?
Yeah. Let me bust out my phone, and we're gonna plug it in here. Okay, and now we're seeing here some signal, as you can see right here on the bottom.
Yes. You're a music audio guy. I'm sure you know about levels. So green is good. I think Johnny, professional audio engineer, yellow's better, but you never read?
Never read.
Never read.
In this context, never read.
In this context, never read. We want good, clean audio.
Yeah.
Obviously, what she's trying to say is that something like that happens, the audio is going to distort a little bit.
Usually yellow, like the very loudest points peaking in yellow.
Well, to do that, I will show you how to achieve the settings on here. So you just scroll up.
Okay.
Or maybe it's down.
Okay.
And then you're going to go to receiver gain, and then you just do, maybe if it's peaking too much,
we can turn it down. And
to the negatives.
Yep.
If it's not loud enough, bring it up a couple. So yeah, maybe right now, because it was like barely green, you could bring it up just a couple.
You can see that. I'm just moving it up. So this is really simple and intuitive. It's just a touch screen, and it's really simple to use. To mic a person, really all it is this goes in their pocket, and then it just runs up their shirt and you just clip it. If
maybe it's a woman, they would just put it in their back pocket and run it up their back and come this way. Like for me, I'm wearing a crop top. You could clearly see the wire, so it comes this way. But do you want to go ahead and mic Johnny?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe we should do a little test with the mic and without the mic so we can hear what Johnny sounds like with it on. Using the rule of thirds, I'm gonna frame him really quick. I'm actually gonna come closer so we can get a cooler shot, I think. How does that for framing, Aly?
Yeah, for a portrait, yeah.
Yeah, so this is our framing. Johnny, why don't you give us your best impression of Homer Simpson?
I've actually never watched much of The Simpsons, but I know he likes donuts.
Was that your impression?
Okay, well you could just say, "Don't."
Don't.
Okay. All right, so that's with the mic. Maybe we should have him say something a little longer.
Longer than don't.
Yeah. All right, so now that we have Johnny mic'd up, let's have him do a little, I guess a little sentence to hear what it sounds like. Go ahead, Johnny, and say, Sally sells seashells by the seashore.
Sally sells seashells by the seashore.
Sweet. Now, I'm gonna come over there, we're gonna take the mic off, and we're gonna hear it again without the mic. So now we tell Johnny to turn off his mic, and we're gonna do this again. Johnny, go ahead and say, Sally sells seashells by the seashore.
Sally sells seashells by the seashore.
Okay, so with that, we can definitely hear the difference in somebody that is mic'd and somebody that isn't mic'd up, and how clear and how unclear the audio can be. So using mics, simple. I mean, how much are these mics as well?
They're a little on the pricier end, but there's definitely some different options. So I would definitely do your research into that. But most mics nowadays, they just plug right into your phone and you're good to go.
So as she said, there's really good options out there for you guys to use that can be inexpensive, but also a great tool to help you just capture clear audio for all of your needs in filming different things, whether it's at a convention, or it could be a testimonial, or it could be for whatever else other your needs that you are asking. If it's interviews on the street, these mics definitely help to grab clear audio. We'll put some links to some options that you guys can possibly look at, ranging from a variety of different price ranges that will be best for your use. So to review and recap everything that we did today, framing, which is how we place somebody or something within our camera frame, very important. And then the rule of thirds, which can help add definitely, I would say, more interest in your shots, something that I've never used before. Definitely something I'll be using going forward, possibly tonight at a local concert. We'll find out. And then also these mics, which help to capture all of the audio that you guys are hearing. A super easy piece of equipment that you can use with your phones to capture good audio that can be relatively inexpensive, but a great investment for all of your future video needs. Thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Adios.